What's up, my friends? Welcome back to another episode of Heal You Bloom podcast. Your girl Shy here. And of course, I'm always so glad that you're taking this time for yourself, growing, reflecting, and stepping into the life that you truly deserve. All right, y'all ready to get started? Let's do this. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to take a moment to reflect on last week's conversation, reconnecting with yourself. Last week, we explored what it means to truly know yourself again, how to recognize when you're feeling disconnected, and intentional ways to realign with your truth. I want to remind you, friends, that this journey of self-discovery is yours. No one else can define who you are or where you're going except you. And if you ever feel as though you're lost, uncertain, or unsure of the next step, just remember this: you are never too far gone to come back home to yourself. Good reminder, huh? All right, let's try something different today. Come on, I want you to do it with me. If you can, close your eyes. If not, just focus on one thing right now. Now place your hand over your heart. Got it there? Feel your heartbeat. You feel it? You feel it beating? That there is proof that you are here, that you are alive, and that you, my friends, have purpose. No matter what's happened in your past, no matter what doubts you have about your future, this moment, this very moment, right here, is yours. This moment, friends, doesn't matter anything else going on. This moment, right here, friends, is yours. Keep your hand there. Don't stop. We're not done yet. As you keep your hand on your heart, I want you to silently say the following to yourself. I am worthy of a life that feels aligned. I am allowed to choose peace and everything else that brings me peace. I am creating a life I love, one step at a time. Now let that sink in. Hold on to that truth, because today, friends, we're talking about exactly that. How to build a life you love, one that aligns with your values, your relationships, your spiritual journey, and your career. Pretty nice exercise, huh? All right, let's get started. Go ahead and grab those journals. Grab your favorite drink, and let's get ready to bloom. All right. Before we get started, make sure you visit creativelyshy.com and order your Bloom journal. Trust me, it will help with stuff like this. All right, let's get started. Ooh, what does it mean, friends, to live in alignment? Have you ever felt like life looks good on the outside, but on the inside, something just feels off? You know, maybe you have a job that pays the bills, but it doesn't fulfill you. Maybe you're surrounded by people, but you still feel alone. Or maybe deep down inside of you, you know you're meant for more, but you don't know what more looks like yet. Yet is the key word. That's what living out of alignment feels like. Exactly that. Living in alignment, on the other hand, feels like peace. It's when your actions, your relationships, and your daily life reflects your values, your passions, and your purpose. Alignment is about making sure that what you do, how you love, and how you spend your time all work together instead of pulling you in different directions. Alignment, my friends, is about peace. Alignment doesn't just happen, it's a choice. We choose to be aligned. It's about recognizing where things feel forced, draining, or out of sync, and making small, intentional shifts towards what feels right. Alignment, friends. It's about being totally honest with yourself about what doesn't feel right in your life. What are the actions that you're taking that you just do it to do it? If it feels right, then it needs to be there. It serves a purpose. And if it doesn't feel right, friends, why do you feel misaligned? And what can you do to shift yourself towards peace? Is it internally something you need to work on? Or is it the people, the place, or the thing that has you unable to find your peace? Right now, in this season, does your life feel aligned? Or do you feel like parts of it are out of sync? Take a moment and jot down one thing that you feel as though you're misaligned with, so that you have it as an opportunity to reflect. And friends, this is the time for you to be honest with yourself. Don't fake it, because we all have areas that we need to work on so that we can continue to take the small intentional steps to help us find peace and be aligned. All right, that's your first activity for the day. So what about aligning your relationships? You know, I absolutely love the 5 love languages. Talk about it, reference it all the time. If you have never, ever looked up the 5 love languages, please look up the 5 love languages. We're going to talk a little bit about it today, but it helps when you understand the purpose of the 5 love languages and how they help you to figure out how to be aligned. You know, one of the biggest ways we experience alignment or misalignment is in our relationships. Ooh, we're talking about it today. You know, whether it's a friendship, family members, romantic partners, or even work relationships, the people we surround ourselves with impact our energy, our confidence, and our ability to thrive. And you thought it was just you. But here's the thing, friends. Sometimes misalignment in relationships isn't because we don't love each other, but because we're expressing and receiving love differently. All right, now let's talk about the 5 love languages. Understanding how you give and receive love and how the people around you do can completely transform your relationships. Here's a quick breakdown for you. First, love language, words of affirmation. You feel most valued when you receive words of encouragement, appreciation, and love. Do you think words of affirmation is your love language? Do you feel good inside when someone tells you great job? Or you look gorgeous today? Or you're so handsome? Do you appreciate it when someone says, I appreciate you? Does it make you feel good inside? That could be your love language. Or the second one, acts of service. You feel love when someone does something thoughtful for you, helping out, showing up, or just doing one simple thing to make your life easier. And you don't even necessarily have to ask for it. Are you the type of person that likes it when someone brings you a cup of coffee when you least expect it? Or you were dreading to wash the dishes and your significant other or a family member washes the dishes and just has them done before you get home? That could be it. If that's you, write it down. Or number 3, receiving gifts. Now, depending on your sex, most people will say, oh, this is a woman's love language. But guess what? Not all women are excited about receiving gifts. And it's not about money, it's about thoughtfulness. A small, meaningful gesture makes you feel seen and cared for. Receiving gifts isn't one of my biggest love languages, but I like them when they're spontaneous. Simple things such as a cup of coffee or one single rose to show affection. Just the thought of it. It's not about how much you spend on it, but it's the thought. And now number 4, quality time. You feel most connected when someone gives you their undivided attention. Deep conversations, shared experiences, and they are present in the moment. You can't really have quality time if you don't know how to take the phone and put it down, turn it off, silence it, put it in another room. If you don't know how to pause the music or pause the TV to have, even if it's a 5-minute conversation with the person that you cherish the most. Or like we used to do back in the day when we had family dinner where everyone sat around the dinner table together and they talked about whatever came up. There were no phones, no TV, no distractions. It was true quality time. Or maybe number 5, physical touch. A hug, holding hands, a simple touch. This is how you feel love the most. 5 different love languages. And guess what? You can have a variation of all 5 that attracts you and really helps your sensory factors to activate. But usually there's one primary love language. So how does this tie into alignment? Well, if you're giving love in a way that doesn't match how someone else receives love, or if you're not receiving love in the way that truly fulfills you, it creates misalignment. Let's talk about relationships, true relationships. In this example, we're going to say significant other. I'll use myself as an example because I know my love language. My biggest love language is quality time. I absolutely love and cherish any sort of quality time. I love it when someone can give me undivided attention to just talk about whatever. It means the most to me. But guess what? My significant other may not like quality time. And it's my responsibility to understand out of the five, which one is something that's most engaging for them. And I need to understand that it's my responsibility so that I'm aligned to talk about my love language and learn about theirs. So, what's your love language, friend? Write it down. Write it down so you know. What about the people closest to you? Do you know their love language? Think about it. Think about it. Write them down. The people that you cherish the most, the people that you care about how they feel and are very important to you, jot their names down and take those five love languages and see if you can identify what you feel is their love language and maybe try it out. See how it makes them feel. I guarantee you that brings you closer in any type of relationship, friendships, family members, relationships that are more intimate, any relationship, work relationships. It helps to know what helps people to feel at peace so that you can have a more comfortable relationship with them. My favorite, five love languages. Next, how do we align spirituality? How do we strengthen our connection to with ourself in faith? It's different for everyone, regardless of what you believe in. So let's talk about it. Spiritual alignment. And no, I'm not just talking about religion, friends. I'm talking about your connection to yourself, your faith, and your purpose. Spiritual alignment is about trusting yourself, trusting your journey, and creating space for faith, reflection, and growth. How do you nourish your spirit? Whether it's prayer, journaling, meditation, or simply being in nature, spiritual alignment happens when you create a space for stillness and connection. Are your values reflected in your daily life? It's not just about what we say and what we believe. It's about whether we actually live those beliefs in our choices, in our habits, and our interactions. Are you trusting your path, friend? Are you? Are you trusting the path that you're on? Alignment doesn't always mean clarity. Sometimes it's about trusting that even when we can't see what's next, you're still on the right path. For me, spiritual alignment has meant choosing to listen to my inner voice rather than outside noises. It's meant being intentional about who I allow into my space and protecting the peace I've worked so hard to build. Alignment for me has changed. It's changed because I was misaligned in ways that I won't say I didn't know, I ignored. I felt as though it would happen eventually. And then I had to pivot. And what I've done is committed to myself to be totally focused on me, to not do anything that someone else wants me to do unless it's something that is intentional and aligned with my goals. My goal is to find peace. And I know I don't have the answers or even have any clue as to what direction that I'm headed in. All I know is that I want my choices, my actions, my thoughts, everything to be focused on peace. because that is what will bring me true alignment, and that is where I want to be, and that is the journey that I've committed to take. So take your journals, friends, and write about one way you can deepen your spiritual connection this week, because that connection is important more than anything. And now let's get into our professional environment. Let's talk about something that takes up a huge part of our lives, and that is work. Whether you're in a corporate job, running your own business, creating art, or exploring new opportunities, professional alignment matters. There's no way around it. For me, building a life I love meant choosing work that aligns with who I am. I had to take time and ask myself, does my work reflect my purpose? Does it bring me joy and fulfillment? Am I making an impact in a way that feels meaningful to me? Friends, if you feel stuck in a job you don't love, I encourage you to ask yourself, what skills or passions do you already have that could lead to something more fulfilling? What skills or passions do you already have that can lead you somewhere where it's most fulfilling? And I also want you to understand that your passion today may be different than your passion 5 years ago. And that's okay. That means that it's time for you to move in a direction towards peace. If you're building a business, does it align with your core values? Or are you doing things just because you think you should? If you love your work but feel burned out, how can you create more balance? You know, sometimes we give more time and effort into work because we feel we need to do it to get it done and to satisfy the needs of others. But balance doesn't come in satisfying the needs of others. It comes in finding out what's important to us, feeling aligned in everything that we do. I've learned that professional alignment isn't about having everything figured out. It's about allowing yourself to grow, to evolve, and explore opportunities that align with who you are becoming. My question to you: what does professional alignment look like for you? Write down one step you can take toward a more fulfilling career. I talked about this last week. I committed last week the one thing that I chose this year to help me be more aligned towards my journey of self-care and giving back to others was this podcast. Every week of this year, committing to find ways and share how we can bloom. How can we be more prepared to move us in the direction of being aligned, of finding our purpose, of being able to work through our journey called life and understand that it takes time, it takes effort, even when it's the small steps. But the goal is to truly be aligned. You know, friends, building a life you love, it just doesn't happen overnight. It happens in the small moments, in the daily choices to live with intention, to love in a way that feels true, to honor your spirit, and to do work that fills your soul. If you've been feeling stuck, if you feel unfulfilled or unsure about where you're headed, I want you to remember this. You always have the power to pivot. Always. Regardless of where you are, if it does not align with your core, you have the power to pivot, friends. Every decision you make, every small action you take, every step towards alignment, it all matters because you matter. And I'll tell you this over and over again. It won't always be easy. There will be moments when you question yourself, when the old habits just come on and try to creep back in, when you feel resistance in where you're trying to go and what you're trying to do. And that's all normal. That's part of life. We aren't here on a perfect world being perfect beings. Growth isn't about never doubting yourself. It's about choosing to move forward anyway, with the understanding that you matter. So here's my challenge to you this week. I want you to do one thing that brings you closer to alignment. Maybe it's a conversation you've been avoiding. A boundary you need to set. We talked about that before. A moment of stillness you need to honor, or a decision that's been sitting on your heart. Take that step, friend. Take it. And if you need to, go back to that heart-centered affirmation from earlier in the episode. Let it be your anchor, because you, my friends, are worthy of alignment. You are allowed to choose peace, because you are building the life you love, one step at a time. Alignment, friends. Find that peace in every aspect of your life. Figure out what you need to do to pivot, to shift and move so that you are at peace. Because when you're at peace, you begin to grow. You begin to bloom. Good one, huh? Next week, we're diving into something even more powerful. Cultivating confidence. Stepping boldly into your next chapter of life. Because once you've aligned different areas of your life, the next challenge is having the confidence to move forward without hesitation. Believing in yourself and understanding that even if you don't know the steps in the next direction that you're headed, that you can do it with confidence, that you can own who you are and do so in peace because you are aligned. So until then, my friends, keep growing, keep healing, and you know more than anything, it's time for us to keep blooming. Have a great week, be blessed, and I'll see you next time.